How you doing?
I am doing very well. How are you, Khaled
Good.
Salad DJ?
I trust me, I have to say that.
That's awesome. I love DJ Khaled actually, but that's a
Oh,
whole other conversation.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mayor Brown still calls me Khalid. I still haven't fixed him. So
Oh, jeez.
maybe he's listening now. Yeah, we'll start off with something it was unfortunately very sad. Three generations of one family dead, 9-year-old in hospital. What do you think needs to happen immediately to combat Islamophobia?
Everyone needs to speak out first and foremost. Every single person, every one of you out there watching has your own platform. You have a circle of influence. You have people that you know. Some have a big megaphone, some have a smaller, but it really, all of us have to call this out for what it is, which is a act of terrorism based on religious based hatred, and it has no place anywhere in the world, nowhere in Canada, and certainly not in Burlington. I would also suggest to people reach out to people in your community you know that are Muslim. And I've been in touch with the members of our mosque here to offer my condolences, to tell them that we stand with them, that we will not tolerate this. It's unacceptable. They are shaken and they're strong.
Yeah.
You know, one of them said to me, it brought tears to my eyes. She said, "We're not going to live in fear. We're going to live in faith and love and hope, and we're going to keep living our lives and standing side by side with people." And thankfully, you know, the people who are who have hate based on religion, based on color of your skin, based on culture, different languages, there's not very many of them, but they can do a whole lot of damage. Look at the unbelievable violent damage that this one individual committed. Definitely in the minority. And I know I've reached out to the mayor of London, Ed Holder, who I know very well. He's a good friend, to say, look, we know that this is not reflective of who Londoners are. Uh, this is one individual who, this is one individual. So we are also looking at the folks from the Halton Mosque, which happens to be in Burlington, have reached out to ask for our help in organizing a prayer service. So we are working on that right now, and that will proceed. So watch for details.
Okay. Um, we're gonna, very well said. Thank you. Um, we're gonna go back to kind of our regularly scheduled program in regards to talking about COVID. I try to bring it up to all the leaders that I talk to kind of, plant the seed so we can start talking about it. So, step one starts this Friday. Um,
1201.
sorry,
1201.
Thursday. Well, I guess, yeah,
Well,
Friday. Right?
Friday night, so
Yeah.
1201 Saturday, however you count these things, yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion out there. Okay, like there has been, obviously throughout the pandemic. But what can open?
Retail can open at 25% capacity. Outdoor patios can open a limit of 4 if you're not related. If your family happens to be bigger than 4, obviously you can all be at the same table. So the province has allowed that flexibility. Our sports fields finally are now able to be open for skills and drills, not for team play just yet. Our outdoor pools and splash pads, we're working really hard to get those open. We were planning to open them on the 14th, and then we kind of got this curveball a few days early, and all indicators are that we'll be able to open, but watch for details on that. So a lot of the things that we're used to, some services can open as long as there's no, removing of the mask. So you can't get a facial, you can't get a beard shave or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so that like the full list, if people are looking for a specific service, we have provided the full list on mariannemeedward.ca, but these are also provincial regulations. In fact, they're exclusively provincial regulations in our local MPP. So Jane McKenna for Burlington, Effie Triantafilopoulos for Oakville, North Burlington, or Parm Gill, who has a piece of North Burlington. They've all been enormously helpful, and I know that they would walk you through it if you have any questions.
And I heard the malls are actually closed unless you have an outdoor entrance. That's what I heard. So people are confused.
Kind of what, yeah. So the indoor spaces, yeah, and that's what it has been before, right? If they could have a way to control crowds coming in or out and not see queuing in the interior.
Now, so this Friday, is it going to be like pure pandemonium in downtown Burlington?
That's kind of what last weekend was and the weekend before, but in a good way, right?
Okay.
You know what? We want people to come enjoy our parks. We want people to enjoy our downtown. Our downtown belongs to the whole city. And they have been. And people from across Halton, certainly across Burlington, but also people visitors from areas within an easy drive have come to visit Spencer Smith Park and Beachway Park in downtown Burlington, and patronize some of our ice cream stores. Obviously, are very popular with the warm weather. And when I've been down, there's a lot of people, but they do appear to be appropriately physically distanced. So gathered in groups of, small groups or families. And I do caution people, I get the odd email and somebody sending me a picture of what looks to be a large gathering of unrelated people. And what am I going to do about it? And I say to folks, look, family is multifaceted. Right? We have blended families. We have multiracial families. We have families with kids the same age. Two of mine are the same age. I have twins. We have multi-generational families. We have a lot of extended multi-generational families living in the same household. Those folks can gather together. And if you happen to walk by, you might think it's a large illegal gathering, and it really isn't. It's a large family. And so let's live and let live. If you feel uncomfortable being in an outdoor space, the guidance really is twofold to give some comfort for people. The risk of transmission outdoors is very low, first of all. And if you are having trouble for a period of time, staying 6 feet apart from people that you don't live with, put on a mask. Always have a mask with you when you go out, and that's what the medical experts are telling us. If you do those two things, go outside, enjoy yourself. The risk of transmission is low. You need that outdoor experience for your own mental and physical health. So that's my message to the community as well.
I think you're being nice. I think you probably got 10 texts and 10 pictures sent to you while you said that. So. So one of my writers sent me a patio setup is starting this week in Burlington ahead of patio reopening this Friday. As a result, several sections will be detoured onto the road with traffic barriers. Tell us about how this will affect drivers and I guess the summer and the coming months.
So we actually close lanes of traffic on Lakeshore, on Locust, portions of Brant. So people have to go around, or in some cases, like on Brant Street, it takes some of the parking spaces. So the traffic still goes. But yes, we divert. We keep the patios closest to the restaurants, and so they encroach upon the city sidewalk. And so we extend then the sidewalk into the roadway, but we put barriers. Our staff go out and put asphalt down at the entrance so they can get down onto the roadway, back up onto the sidewalk when they're going around, so it's fully accessible. And they're doing a little bit. I know the Burlington Downtown Business Association is working really hard to beautify some of those areas, because the Jersey barriers are just ugly. they're very safe and useful, but they're really. Somebody needs to give it to Apple or something for a good design. But anyways, we got what we got. They're trying to beautify the patio experience and space itself. So
Cool.
That is all underway now, well before Friday.
Cool. And can I ask, are you kind of saying, hey, people from other regions, stay away? Like, can I?
No,
No? Okay, you're saying that
absolutely. You
I
you
can
could
come to a
come.
patio in
We
Burlington.
could even sit on the same patio because as long as there's not more than four of us.
Isn't the same household?
No, that rule was changed.
Oh,
It's four unrelated is the max, but if
okay.
you're all of the same household, there's no limit. I mean, some families are 6 and 7 members, right?
Okay. All
And the
right.
gathering size, the gathering used to be under the stay-at-home, used to be only members of your own household. Those are the only people you could see in or out, didn't matter. When they lifted the stay-at-home and relaxed some of that, it was 5, indoor or outdoor, but you didn't have to be from the same household. So
Okay.
that's currently what is carrying forward into stage 1.
Awesome. I can go to a patio in Burlington. All right.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
If I can get in, if I can get a
Yeah.
reservation, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no
You're the
special
mayor.
role in town,
You're the
luckily.
mayor. Okay. Another question I have from one of our writers. This week, the city reminded residents that no fires are allowed at Beachway Park. Are bonfires something that has been an issue there? And if so, are there consequences if somebody does this?
Yes, there are no fires allowed at Beachway. There are limited fires allowed at some of our parks, for example, Lowville. So if you want the full list, you can bring coals or have small fires for cooking food. They have to be extinguished. In those areas, we have fire pits where the ashes can go. So we're set up to accommodate that. Beachway is not one of those places. Fires, outdoor fires are not permitted. We had a real issue on the weekend. There were almost 1,000 people that showed up on Beachway Park, police, tactical units, Marine, bylaw, it was all hands on deck. It was going to get, it was threatening to turn ugly, let's say that, but everyone came to their senses, the crowds dispersed. We became aware that there might be a similar event happening, and we will have zero tolerance. We will have all appropriate officers deployed to deal with that before it happens.
Okay. It wasn't like Toronto where it took 3 hours to disperse. Everybody listened in Burlington and kind of dispersed within half an hour. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they dispersed. I didn't get the time clock
Okay.
from the police, but you know what? I get that people, especially our young people, are struggling. You've been inside and isolated, deprived of social experiences, and a lot of the normal experiences that kids would have, from going to school to having your job to having a graduation ceremony, etc. I totally get it. At the same time, the rules are still in place for your safety and everyone else's, and so we're not going to allow for illegal gatherings that put people at risk, especially when people were setting off fireworks. You could set
Well,
the forest on fire. If you're drunk, you could drown. People were starting to get a little punchy with each other. We don't want to see people getting hurt when they're just trying to have a good time. So stay in your neighborhood. 5 is the max. There, 1 hand to 5. Still. So
right.
that's what you can do. Pick your 5 closest friends. Stay 6 feet apart, enjoy socializing, do it safely.
And are the people at Beachway, are they picking up their garbage or are they leaving it?
So a lot of people are leaving their garbage. And I got to say, look, folks, personal responsibility. And you will appreciate this story, which I recently shared with internally and externally. I was in Japan, as you know, 2 years ago because we have a twin city sister, Itabashi. And one of the cultural learnings was there's no garbage cans anywhere.
True.
Right? They are in the restaurants. So, and they don't really, we learned this from our hosts, they don't have that takeout, eat and run culture. You sit and eat, and then you dispose of your waste, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And if you make other garbage in other activities, you carry that with you. You carry it home. And I got real good at, finding ways to carry my garbage until I could find a receptacle, which are, as you know, not easy to come by. But what I liked about it is that it put responsibility where it should lay. The person who is making the garbage is responsible for the garbage. So I will say to people, look, if you see a garbage can overflowing, don't add your garbage. If you can't fold and fit the pizza box, which we've seen a lot of, into the garbage receptacle or the recycling receptacle, we have both, take it with you. How hard is it to, put it in the back of your car or carry it home with you? We go get takeout all the time and bring it home. It's not that hard to carry a box full or empty and bring it where it can be properly disposed of. So our staff are out there from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day in our parks. They make multiple passes to clear out the garbage, and we've had so many people in the parks that they fill up in a matter of hours. In fact, one large group with pizza box leaving can turn a clean area into a mess like that. And then somebody comes along and sees it and thinks that our staff aren't out there. They deserve our respect and our kindness. And everyone else, please be responsible and don't add garbage to an overflowing can. Take it with you, be responsible, respect the space, and enjoy.
Yeah, imagine backyard.
Imagine it's your backyard.
Because it is.
It is our city backyard. Treat it like that. You wouldn't throw it down in your own backyard. So I am appealing to people to exercise some personal responsibility, because quite simply, we can't police every individual out there.
True.
Our staff do an amazing job of staying on top of this. And even still, like I said, it takes one small group to leave their stuff just after our crew has emptied something out. And there you have a mess sitting there until they can get back.
Well, talking about Beachway, did you guys give out any tickets this weekend? Or this week?
We just got, I'm trying to remember. We just got the data at committee this week. We get a verbal update every committee cycle around tickets and various things and how things are going at the Beachway. So 77, I think, was the number, but it's up there. And about half of those are people who are parking after hours. So just a reminder to folks, our parks are closed from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and you can't park there, and we will ticket you. So you don't want to get a ticket. Enjoy the park between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. and leave between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay.
And you won't get a ticket. We did have to tow some folks, not many, a couple. We did ticket some people for non-payment, but that's gone down. And the great news for Beachway is we handed out over 1,100 free parking passes.
There you go.
Awesome. So yeah, and we still managed to make some money. So which was I thought, did anybody pay? Because we don't have 1,100 spaces down there. But yeah, no, it's working really well, and it is giving our Halton residents a bit of a break. So it's doing exactly what it needs to do and raising some money to manage the parking.
Cool. That's 77 in 1 week, correct? Last week.
Yeah, so
over one weekend.
One weekend. So we have the I don't have it in front of me, but we have the data for 2 weekends in a row. And the first weekend, as you can imagine, there was a bit more of the towing, people parking illegally, people parking on the gas line, which we repeatedly tell them not to do. We have zero tolerance for that because of the obvious safety issues. If you were parked for non-payment, you would have gotten a ticket for that as well.
Okay. You probably don't have this number, but I've asked this to other mayors as well. Do you know the number of businesses that Burlington has lost over the pandemic? Like, is there a lot?
The last, any business that we lose is heartbreaking. So
Yeah.
I'll just start with that. It's the loss of somebody's livelihood, something that they were passionate about, something that they believed in, and COVID, just did them in, and it's heartbreaking. There's a lot of hope too, though, because we've seen businesses open during this pandemic, and we've talked about some of those bricks and mortar, often women-led. We just kind of go, well, we're just going to get her done, and I believe in myself. I'm going to make it work, and which is awesome. And so the latest numbers I saw is that we actually have. It was very close, the number of business closures and openings, kind of really close in numbers, but we're kind of edging up on the openings. So
Nice.
the net change is actually a positive for the city, believe it or not. But as I said, we've lost some loved and cherished businesses, and that's jobs, that's people's livelihood. It is heartbreaking no matter what.
COVID numbers are good, so what's the
Single
situation like?
digits.
Sorry?
We're in the single digits.
Wow. Is that
Yeah,
Halton or Burlington?
in Burlington, we're getting close to single digits, and we've been in the 20s or so in overall in Halton, single digits in most of the municipalities for a couple of weeks now. So that is awesome news, and we're over 70% on vaccinations region wide now. So things are looking good. Yeah.
Any Delta variants in Halton? Do you know of
What do you mean? Oh,
the Delta?
the Delta. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
do track all the variants, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're all here to some degree
Yeah.
in Burlington
Okay.
or in Halton. Yes.
But no, it's good. Okay. But anyways, everything's getting better, so that's a good sign.
It is all getting better, as my dear colleague Rick Bennett, Mayor of Halton Hills, says. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and for once, it's not a train coming at us.
Good line.
I use that line a lot. Thank you, Rick.
So it's Pride Month. What is Burlington doing?
So we always do a flag raising, and that, of course, was paused when the discovery of the 215 children in the grave outside of Kamloops, BC residential school. We lowered our flags for 9 days, which would have ended today, but we kept them down because of what we were talking about earlier, the family that was murdered because they were Muslim in London. We kept the flags down. And we're actually going to keep them down tomorrow as well, because normally at the beginning of every June, we honor employees of the city who have died in the past year. And so we won't, all things being equal, with no more events that we want to honor and recognize, the flags will go up on Friday. So Pride Month, we will do that. We actually just at committee approved new rainbow crosswalks in the city. So we approved 3 for this year, and another 3 to be discussed during budget deliberations in the fall to be installed next year.
Are you going to tell me where?
Well, the top location is Fairview and Drury, a very busy intersection, but it happens to be right near the Halton Catholic District School Board administrative offices. We did a survey of our community asking where they would want them. There was a range of options, and the vast majority of people selected that location by a long shot. There were over 4,100 people who responded. We usually get in the hundreds to our survey responses. So the community, some were students. We asked them who they were. Are you students? Do you live here? Do you work here? Are you a parent? And it was it was equal really across wards, across different demographics, and about 90% were Burlington residents.
Nice.
So a really good picture of our community. It was a close vote. Still has to go to council. There were some motions to reduce the number. I didn't support that. We need to show as much love in as many places as we can. So that's what we're going to do.
Awesome. Cool. And with all the good news in regards to, the 70% vaccination I'm assuming first doses, obviously, do you see the city of Burlington giving out permits for events, maybe September, October?
So we have sort of an internal criteria that needs to be met before we'll start issuing permits. So yes, we do on a very small micro scale. If somebody wants to have a neighborhood street party, with 10 or 15 households and they're all kind of keeping apart, we think that's possible. I mean, the gathering limits are still, 5 and creeping up to 10 in the next step. So you still can't have large numbers. There are some exceptions to that we can talk about, but we've issued those micro permits where we had the ability under the provincial regs already throughout the pandemic. When we start talking about events like Sound of Music, 400,000 people come through in 4 days.
Crazy.
100,000 people come through in 4 days, right? So we've made the decision internally that until we reach the threshold of 1,000 people can gather. There's just no feasible way to run and issue these permits because they take a lot of runway to plan. You can't say, oh, great, let's do Sound of Music next weekend. We good to go, right? It's 6 months to a year to plan these things. So we're hoping for 2022, but if by the fall there's the ability for slightly larger, I'll call them micro events, of a couple hundred people, if the provincial regs allow that, we'd be in a position to support it for sure. But even those things are hard to plan on a dime.
So I've been planting the seed with all the mayors in regards to the next big event. Probably it might be New Year's Eve, right?
Possibly. Burlington hasn't done a formal New Year's Eve celebration in a very long time.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Well, because we used to do it when I moved here, 20 some odd years ago. It was down at Central Park, and we'd gather at 5:30 when it got dark, and there'd be some singing, and I think Burr Bear would come out. He's our local mascot, and we'd.
Why don't you guys do it?
Because the bars became a bigger draw.
Oh, okay.
Bars, families would get together, even if they had young children. So they'd have the moms and dads in the upstairs and the kids downstairs on a sleepover or whatever. I did many of those kind of New Year's Eve parties, or we'd go to bars when we were of a different age. So the party moved inside. Right? It was warm.
Okay.
So our crowd started dwindling, and it's like maybe the public is telling us they got better things. They have another way that they want to celebrate this occasion than having us drag them outside. We heard a little bit from folks who had kind of counted on that ceremony. I'm always open to looking at it again, especially now with COVID. But that's why, we were kind of people's third choice on the date card there. So
just throw in fireworks. There'll be 1,000. There'll be like 100.
We did have fireworks.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. Different demo. So.
I know.
So,
a lot of people are startled by fireworks. They're a real mixed bag. And, the number one survey, this will come as a shock, that we ever did. So our Pride crosswalks was probably number 2 at 4,100-ish. Earlier last year, fireworks, 14,000.
Oh, wow.
Most people not wanting any fireworks ever. Climate issues, pollution issues, startling animals, startling dogs. Yeah, and the numbers were so high, we're like, did one person go in and fill out a whole bunch of these? What happened? No, it was just people feel very passionately. And I don't know if it went viral. I don't know. Who knew that fireworks were such a hot topic?
Interesting. All right. Learned so much.
But they were. Yeah.
So I got another question here. I call this washroom gate at parks. All right.
Yes.
The city recently announced that they would be opening up public access to washrooms at City Hall on weekends. How else is the city helping combat this issue with public in need of additional access to washrooms? Is the city, going to have more washrooms?
Love it. Love the question. Yes. So it's actually going to be announced imminently. So you get the scoop. We are opening 414 Locust, which is right down the street from City Hall. It's right behind the Esso station, right across the street from Spencer Smith, where a lot of people queue up to use that bathroom. Right beside it, we do have some public washrooms in there. It's our tourism office, which of course a lot of that has been closed through the season because of the lockdown, but we are reopening it this weekend. It will be staffed 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So people will have that opportunity, and we'll have signage out. So, in some of the restaurants have said, look, we're not open to come inside, even though patrons want to come in and use the washroom. So we'll have signs saying, look, if you need a washroom, City Hall is this way, or 414 Locust is that way. Discovery Landing, we have added more porta potties to our parks. They're not the most attractive things, but they get the job done. So I can tell you, when we announced that City Hall washrooms were open, it was really funny and sweet, put a comment on my Facebook saying, I've never been so excited to hear about more washrooms. And these are the things that we took for granted before COVID.
You're right.
Right?
You're totally right. It's like I want to go biking, but where do we go?
Right. And our beach pavilion was under some renovations. We've always had washrooms there, so those are open now as well. We also have porta potties there, which they were there as a backup for the pavilions, but now we're just keeping them there because the demand is so high. And we may look to bring more to Spencer Smith Park because we've just seen the crowds explode because people are home, they're staycationing, they're eating outside. They're doing exactly what we think is healthy and safe. They're getting together in parks outside, but that creates washroom garbage issues. Yeah.
I've told a lot of people in Mississauga how beautiful it is. So.
Well, they're welcome to come and visit us as long as they respect the space and don't litter.
Yes. Yeah, all my friends would do that. Don't worry. So, and do you have anything that you'd like to chat about? It's 3:30 already. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I've got an audit committee meeting starting right now. So
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, this is my exciting life. Washrooms and audit. Anyways, I love what I do. I love our chats. I think it's helpful. And thanks to all the residents who are writing on the questions. It's really great to know what's on your mind.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Until next week.
Till next week. See you, Khaled.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye.